Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot and today we are going to talk a little bit about Jurassic World, the film. So, first things first, if you haven't seen the film and you'd like to avoid spoilers, this is not the video for you. Go, click now, I'll give you 5 seconds. That's enough time. Click off the video. This is not going to be spoiler free by any stretch of the imagination. I also hesitate to call this a review. I'm not a film reviewer, I'm just going to give my general thoughts. Maybe we'll give it a score at the end, or at least ranking within the Jurassic Park things. I have a sheet of paper because I'm a goddamn professional, and I'm going to go through, first of all, what I thought worked well in the film, and then some of the bad things. A few things stuck out particularly to me after the film was finished. And I'd like to go through what I think could be improved for future sequels and such things like that. So let's start with what was good. First things first, the character development on this film was, in my opinion, the single best character development we've had in a Jurassic Park film. I know that sounds blasphemous slightly with the first around. The third film didn't really have any character development aside from married couple, not married no more. Oh, now they're happy and together again. That was it. Second film didn't really have any. There's a whole father-daughter split kind of thing with Kelly and Malcolm. The first film had Grant doesn't like kids. That was about it in terms of character development across the three films. I felt this one had a lot more with the family drama and Claire and Chris. I call him Chris Pratt. With Claire and Owen and the Maserani guys' relationship with the others and stuff. There was more sort of tension and more conflict, but also more just... I think the writing in terms of the dialogue and the character development was substantially better in Jurassic World than we've seen before. And that was a big thing. That was one reason I was really happy that Colin Trevorrow was going to be writing Jurassic World, because his previous, the only other big, and it's not even a big budget film, the only other main film release he's done before is a relatively unknown little indie film called Safety Not Guaranteed, which is fantastic, by the way. Absolutely brilliant film. And the characters are, it's all a character piece, essentially, with a little bit of a sci-fi trapping. It's really good and I recommend you watch it. I was really hoping he would bring that kind of character, because I didn't want just another dumb summer blockbuster. We want something with a little bit of depth, and I think it was done better than any other Jurassic Park film before. 2 thumbs up. What else we got? The film gets started really quickly. I think you're on the island after about 2 minutes or something. It really is. It introduces the family, shows you that Gray, the youngest kid, really likes dinosaurs, and then they're at the airport, and then they're gone, and they're on the island. You know, there was no dilly-dallying around. It wasn't a short film by summer blockbuster standards. I think it just clocked in at around 2 hours, which is getting long these days. But they didn't waste time. They managed to develop the characters whilst on the island, rather than, you know, spending half an hour building stuff up needlessly, when the fact is we're watching Jurassic World because we want to see dinosaurs. So that's what they did. Speaking of the children were far less annoying than they have been in the past. Kelly, nobody likes Kelly, I'm afraid. Sorry, Kelly. The kid in the third film was not that annoying, but was unrealistic in some ways, like how he survived for 8 weeks when these dinosaurs are wiping out an army in like a day kind of thing. Tim and Lex were vaguely annoying, let's be honest. I thought the kids in this film were slightly less annoying. Kids are always going to be annoying, but these were slightly less annoying. What else? Chris Pratt was really good. So was the actress who plays Claire, who I can't remember the name of, and I'm so sorry. I will check. But they were both really good. Chris Pratt, I've liked Chris Pratt for about like 8 years now, whenever Parks and Recreation first started. For those who haven't seen him on Parks and Recreation, which is probably the best sitcom of the last decade in my opinion. He started off very heavy, he was quite like a big guy, and he was very stupid, the character he played, and a lot of physical humour and stuff like that, and was fantastic in it. And then he's obviously gone into this kind of leading man status, but kept the kind of humour he always had, and just added that kind of serious element. I thought he was really good. The Mosasaurus was fantastic. Some people are disappointed with its role in the ending of the film, which we're going to get to in a second. But what I really liked about the Mosasaurus was that we had something other than dinosaurs and other than... Well, I mean, okay, we've had the Pteranodons in the past, but they've never really been that prominent anyway. The Mosasaurus was this big, flashy, show-offy kind of powerful thing that we've never really experienced before in the films, and I'd like them to go that route a little bit in the sequels. There's this possibility, you know, let's get Titanoboas in there, let's get Sarcosuchus in there, let's get some of the extinct mammals in there. There's no reason the same ideas that they've done for Jurassic Park couldn't work in that kind of angle. Speaking of the sequel, I will mention quickly a bad point. I feel the film set itself up a bit too routinely, it felt like it was being set up for the sequel towards the end. There's this big subplot, which I will also mention as a good thing, because it had a subplot. There's a subplot, basically, for those who don't know, for some reason, don't know why you're watching this video if you don't, around the raptors being basically trained for war. One of the characters, Hoskins, has this idea of using the raptors as a soldier, essentially, and it's kind of a subplot, and it's got kind of this ethical dilemma behind it, and it's got this potential to actually be really good, but it needs a little bit more development. I suspect that is kind of what's being saved for the sequel, because Wu has got out with the embryos, and I suspect him and Ingen may work together to make that a reality, because at the end of the day, there is only so far you can go with dinosaurs break out of things and kill people. I don't think we can do it again for the sequel. Maybe in a few films, but for now, they need an alternate angle, and I think that might be it. Hopefully what they'll do is, they'll basically make the sequel for the generation who saw this as a 12-year-old, so the next film would be like a 15, and they can up it a little bit, maybe make it a little bit darker. I'd love to see a slightly more mature Jurassic Park. I don't think we're going to get it, because merchandising stuff, they want to sell toys, all that kind of stuff, but I'd love to see just a slightly more adult-rated version of the film. So that's a good and a bad point. The fact that that subplot was there added a bit of depth, let's talk about the third film. No subplot whatsoever. It was, let's get off the island. Barely a plot. It was, let's get off the island. That was it. I mean, it had the little thing with the characters, and I suppose Billy stealing the eggs, but that's not really a subplot. This had this thing that kind of ran throughout the whole film. Hoskins kept popping up. It was a driving force behind quite a lot of what happened in the film, besides just, oh, dinosaurs have escaped, which was good. It was kind of like the equivalent of having Dennis Nedry in the first film. Speaking of which, there was a lot, and this was both a good and bad thing, there was a lot of correlations between the first film and Jurassic World. There's a lot of shots that kind of called back to the first film, when the kids are in the gyrosphere getting attacked by the Indominus Rex, and they're holding up the glass, and it's bashing down into the glass to try and get them, and all that kind of jazz. That was very similar. Scenes in the first film. There was a lot more. At one point there was a good callback where the T-Rex destroys the Spinosaurus skeleton, and I thought everyone in the cinema probably loved that. What else have we got? Only two more things on the good part. It's quite a lot of good things. Sorry, I've got a cold and I'm dying, by the way. The music was fantastic. Obviously, the original Jurassic Park theme tune was still in play. There's also this beautiful version that we'd heard in the trailers long ago. It was like a slowed down piano version. Like more singular notes, and it sounds beautiful. But the supplemental music was really good as well, really fit the tone of the film. However, while speaking about the music, one problem I had was, within the first half an hour of the film, we heard the climactic Jurassic Park theme tune twice, the big build-up moment. And it didn't feel earned either time. In the original Jurassic Park, when we got that was when we first saw the Brachiosaurus. We first got a proper look at a dinosaur, the characters were overwhelmed with the majesty of the whole thing, and the music swells up, and it's my favourite moment in all of cinema, and is, I'm sure, for a lot of you guys as well. Jurassic World didn't have that. It didn't earn that awe and majesty to warrant the music, and it didn't really earn it in general. I don't think there's any moment in the film that kids watching it today will remember like we remember that Brachiosaurus moment in 20 years. Now, I don't want to think that's just nostalgia talking. I don't think it is. I think when people look at the film, they won't see that moment, simply because dinosaurs were already established. There's thousands of people there. Jurassic World was up and running, which was great because it was an alternate angle. But it does mean Jurassic dinosaurs have become commonplace. They even reference that in the film. That's why they had to make the Indominus Rex, because dinosaurs were just this everyday thing that everybody's seen already. It wasn't a big deal anymore. Obviously, Gray was still reacting massively, and the Mosasaurus was this big, spectacular thing, and it was really cool. But it wasn't a dinosaur for the first time, which is what it needed to be. Boof. However, the film finished in, what is probably now my second favourite bit of any Jurassic Park film. The climactic scene of Jurassic World is awesome. It really was fantastic. It was really well done. Had a couple issues which I'm going to talk about when we get to the bad section. And maybe people didn't like the Mosasaurus intrusion, but the fight between the Indominus Rex and the T-Rex was something we'd all wanted. We all wanted the T-Rex to come out and kick ass, and it was kind of losing at first, and then it starts fighting back, and the Raptors joining in, and it was just... That final scene was second below only the Brachiosaurus scene. For me, that was better than the Raptor T-Rex scene at the end of the first Jurassic Park film. That's how good it was. And whilst we're talking about how good the film was in general, no, I'll do that in a minute. So, bad bits. I mentioned didn't earn the majesty, lack of wow moments, subplot needed a bit more. I hate the design of the raptors. that's a personal thing. I can't really put that against the film. They're too bulky and big, and I wish I love the design of the raptors in the third film. They're kind of sleek and suddenly they look a lot more predatorial. In this one, they looked fake, and it wasn't a comment on the quality of the CGI. I just don't think the design of them was that Raptor-esque. I really think they looked a lot better in the third film, which was a little bit disappointing, particularly at the start when they first appear. They appear to have really, really like tree trunk thick necks. I just don't think it worked at all. I really wish they'd gone in a different direction with the raptors. The middle bit of the film suffered slightly, I believe. The start was very cool with the big reveals, blah blah blah. The end was awesome. The middle bit, where it's basically let's run away or run to the Indominus Rex and they're trying to shoot it down and stuff, had some cool moments, but less, you know? And there's also a slight over-reliance on CGI compared to the original film in particular. The original film stands up today so well because it didn't use that much CGI. The only point in this film, I believe, now I think there's 2 points in this film that weren't CGI, which was the raptors maybe once or twice, and the Apatosaurus, which had been killed. Which is a really great moment, again harking back to the Triceratops from the first film. And that was kind of the problem, we'd done it before, but it's still quite emotive, and the fact they didn't use CGI made it more emotive. The characters could obviously connect easier because they're actually touching something rather than going like that in midair and having to imagine there's something below them. I wish they'd done that a little bit more. My final bad thing really was, for me it lacked a bit of atmosphere. Something even the third film I think did a little bit better. I think that was naturally because it was this open park, because there was thousands of people there, because it was already an established park, it was harder to do. But like in the third film, when they're like skulking through the forest and there's fog coming in and stuff, in the second film, same kind of thing, got the bit with the long grass, and the first film, where the T-Rex first comes out and it's dark and it's raining. A lot of this film, like 90% of this film, took place middle of the day. No rain, no fog, none of that kind of climate that we'd associate with that kind of thing. And I think that, I don't know, it felt like it needed a little bit more oomph in the atmospheric department. It needed some rain, it needed some thunder, it needed some darkness, it needed some fog or something, rather than just being this sort of gallivant through the. It ruined for me the danger of the Indominus Rex to an extent, because it was just all too bright and cheerful in terms of the lighting. And that's really it in terms of bad things I've got to say. Overall, it's a fantastic film. I will say, it's hard to put a number on, and I think I need to watch the film a few more times. That's why I'm not really wanting to call this a review. I watched the film in IMAX 3D, which was blow you away kind of amazing, but I was also in the front row dead centre, so it's quite hard to see what was going on at the edges, or like things were a little blurry in places. So I'm going to get the film as soon as it comes out and watch it again, and hopefully be able to offer a better opinion when I've seen the film 1 or 2 or 3 more times. But I would say it's the second best Jurassic Park film, despite the flaws it's got, and it does have flaws. So does the original film. The original film's got a hell of a lot of problems, you know? And it's definitely better than the third, and it's just about better than the second for me. I mean, I enjoy the third film. I can sit down and watch the third film. Because it's got dinosaurs as a film, it's pretty atrocious in my opinion. I think this was a much better made film, better characters, better plot, better writing. Had a lot more going for it than the second film and the third film, and it's close to the first, and I hope that there's people out there who were my age when I first watched Jurassic Park, and they're watching Jurassic World and it's their first Jurassic Park film, and they're getting that same kind of sense of wonder that we all did when we were kids. That'd be really cool. That's all I've got to say, so thank you very much for joining me and listening to me prattle on. Please let me know your comments down below, let me know your opinions, maybe put the films in order. The comments will be spoiler filled, so again, if you're looking to avoid spoilers, stay out of the comments, guys. Spoil away. Please try to keep spoilers out of the other videos. I've had to delete a few comments because people are posting the ending on other videos, which isn't cool. But feel free to do it down in the comments below on this video. Thank you so much for joining me as always. Cheers, much love, bye bye.